Hello again, everybody. This is Brian from Breaking Down Security. We have part 2 of our interview with Anna. Those of you who listened last week heard her and us discussing an issue that she had at a call center where somebody's calling up, doing an actual social engineering attack on her call center representatives. They are, before she was giving out training, they were, offering up information about purchase order information. They were able to get, this person calls back on a semi-regular basis and tries to glean information from her call center reps. And she has supplied us with audio on what is going on. So this week, we are going to talk about what happened during and after these events. So we talked last week before, like what they were doing before. We got to hear some audio about what was going on before all the controls were put in place, before all the training. So now we're going to hear about what happened as training is happening. So she's having to, stand up the training and give proper training on how to avoid giving out unnecessary information or information that could lead to purchase order compromise, and then the after effects of that. So there's a couple of things to show how effective the training has been. You're going to tune in, you're going to find out if the first round of training actually worked, or if there's, they needed both rounds of training or additional rounds of training, and what happened to some of the people who were working at the org. So you'll hear all the contact information for Anna and those next week. And we're going to go ahead and get right into it right now. We're going to start talking about clip number 3, which is the one that is happening as Anna is giving training to some of the call center reps. So you've done the training. Everybody's, been trained up. They're now on the guard for, the bad calls. And I think it's probably a good time to go ahead and start with number 3. We'll go ahead and do number 3. It's a lot shorter. It's only 30 seconds. Is there anything you'd like to preface this before I play it?
Sure. So in this case, it was actually the same day of the training, so it's fresh. However, the initial training is also, hadn't been dialed in yet. We were kind of winging this because we didn't have a script to go on either. Right. So in this case, I think the person handling the call did an okay job, but they were a little short. They came up a little short. We reviewed this and immediately went back and re-upped the training again and put that person back through training.
Roger that. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and play this one now.
Thank you for this. May I do for you today? I need to check on my order. Okay. Do you have the order number? 3. You said 4006583.
582. I'm sorry. This place.
And you're checking on it?
Yeah, I wanted to know the total because my wife didn't tell me.
Oh, the total is $201.57.
All right, can I give my work phone number unless you already have it?
Well, can you just verify the billing address for the order?
Thank you for calling. This is speaking. How may I help?
Sorry, my bad. Again, So that one seemed to do a lot better. The guy hung up when he was asked to verify the account address, right?
Yes. As soon as he was asked to identify the billing address, he hung up. Where I think mistakes might have been made here is that the customer clearly gave the wrong order number. Mm-hmm. I don't know how you could have misheard the order number. So I would have immediately been suspicious that, 2 versus 3, it doesn't get misheard. The customer didn't misread it, what have you. It was pretty obvious. He did give up the dollar value of the order before verifying anything. So as soon as he had heard the 2 versus 3, what have you, he should have really gone into a challenge response thing like he did there at the end, where he said, okay, if you want any more information, you're going to have to give me information first.
Yep. Now, was that actual real time? It was like it only took 30 seconds, and the minute he asked that, he hung up, or did he try to?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nope. He's going to call back again to try to extract from someone else. So as soon as he gets any pushback, he's going to hang up and hope he gets somebody who hasn't been trained. Right. And I think this really underscores the importance of train everyone all at once. I know it's hard, but you have exposure for everyone who doesn't have current training. Right.
So, did the person who we heard, the gentleman in number 3, did you followed up with all of this with the additional training, or was this between like the first and the second time? You said a majority of these folks got 1 or 2 sessions worth of training. Was that after the first session only, or was this person graduated from your training at that point?
So it was 1 session only. It was I was literally in training with another group of call center people when this happened. Okay. And he actually recognized as soon as the gentleman hung up, our call center rep went, "Hey, wait a minute," and immediately came into the conference room and grabbed his manager, who went out, listened to the call, came back and grabbed me, and it was like, "Oh, hey, wait, we need to we need to go through this again with a little bit more direction as to it's okay to challenge the customer."
No, that's awesome. So
when should that challenge happen? Were you training that it needed to happen right away?
Initially, we weren't training that it needed to happen right away. It's quite possible that I wasn't clear enough that, and I modified my takeaway point that I drive home, which is you should never give the customer any information that they should already have. So if they say, "What's the phone number on my account?" the customer should already know what the phone number on their account is. You don't need to give it to them. What address did I have that shipped to? Well, what address do you think you had it shipped to? Right. So I wasn't clear enough that we're not giving out any information that the customer should already have. What was my order total? Well, what do you show for an order total? What's on your receipt? Well, I don't have my receipt. Okay, can you just verify your address for me? If you think about when you call, and I like to use your bank as an example. When you call your bank, they instantly challenge you half to death before they'll even acknowledge that you are a living, breathing entity. Right. You have to answer everything about yourself. Right. Oh, can you give me the last 4 digits of your social security number? Oh, what's your account number? What's the last 3, when you call your credit card company, what's the last 3 transactions you made on your credit card? Right. Yep. So they're constantly collecting information. And I have to say that to a large extent, I actually went back and called several of my credit card companies and my banks and wrote down what their challenge response system is. So that I could, try to use that to help base our training program on something that obviously they hold a lot more money than us, and they probably have spent a lot more money, time, and resources in investigating how this works. So they're probably going to have a program that's pretty well designed to protect against it. Right. Yeah, my bank that I use actually has a code word in addition to the telephone pin, which you type in, which can be anywhere between 8 to 12 characters or whatever. That the call center system, I forget what the name of it called, but it's like, "Oh, hi," and I'm like, "Hi, I'm Brian," and they're like, "What's your code word?" And I'm like, "It's blah." It's not actually blah, but it's something else. So yeah, that's cool. I would assume in some cases, I guess it depends on the type of call center you're going to have to. So you've added some of these protections in place in your current call center. Not all of them, obviously, but some of the ones that make more sense for a retail company. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So it's impacted the training. We're also using some AI to go back in time and analyze, or machine learning if you prefer, to go back in time and analyze some of these calls. And we have found several more examples of people different than this gentleman doing things that look awfully suspicious. We can't say for sure that they are, but they look awfully suspicious to me.
Yeah. Do you have any kind of warning system? So like, let's say you've got Bill, the call center rep there, and he thinks the call is fishy. Is he ordered to terminate the call at that time, or does he, type something on his keyboard to an internal chat and says, "Hey, I've got a live one here." What do you guys? I don't know how much you want to give away, or if this is any kind of secrets, but is there anything that you guys are doing to warn potentially other folks of these things?
Right. So what we actually have now is we do have an internal chat system. Mm-hmm. And if somebody becomes suspicious, they should challenge the customer. If they're not sure, they should escalate the call to the call center manager. So they will over chat, out of band, sideband. They will say to the call center manager, "Hey, I really want to send this one to you. See what you think of this." And then they'll go back to the customer and they'll use an excuse like, "I'm sorry, my terminal just crashed. I'm going to send you to our call center manager who can better help you with this call." Oh, no. And while I go reboot my terminal, sorry about that.
Right. And social engineer. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. We're social engineering the social engineers, I guess.
Nice. Okay. All right. So so everybody's done the training at least twice. I think we probably can go ahead and do number 5. What did the call center reps think of the training? Did they think it was unnecessary? Did they think that, well, I can always tell when somebody's what did the mentality of the call center reps, what was their feelings about the training period?
It's interesting. They actually, nobody felt that it was unnecessary or that they would know. I think a common theme was actually hurt feelings. Oh. They were hurt that they were investing in this customer, and the customer was actually abusing them. So I think a lot of it was really hurt feelings. In some cases, or at least in one very specific case, we had a call center rep who had been with the company for a very long time, and she was the friendliest, sweetest, most helpful person in the entire world. And unfortunately, she wasn't able to break out of the mold of the friendliest, sweetest, nicest, most helpful person in the world. And we had to remove her from the phones because the risk was just too high with her, that she was not. She was actually social engineered by this same guy. How she didn't recognize his voice, I'll never know. But she was social engineered by this guy at least 3 times since the training. So it was just, and listening to her other calls, it wasn't just him, because sometimes this is all innocent too. Right. And, that is, of course, the risk. But if, and I know this isn't really your question, but also, how does the customer respond to this as well? Right. And in the case of the customers, we've gotten, a little bit, because we tend to be a more traditional, older industry, several of the customers are like, why do you need to know this? Or why are you asking me this? Or, what the heck is going on here? Right. And as soon as the call center rep who's been trained, how to respond to that, as soon as the call center rep says, we're doing this for your protection. We're doing this because we care about your privacy. We care about your security. Honestly, I have not heard a single customer continue to push back. And I think, again, because other industries that protect things like money have already adopted this many years ago. Everybody's used to it. Everybody's, it may be frustrated. Yeah, it may drag the call out. But it is a reality in our world today.
Right. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and play both number 4 and number 5 sequentially. I'll just add a little break there to say number 5, and then we'll talk about that and finish up hopefully after this. So here's audio number 4.
Thank you for calling. This is speaking. How may I help you?
Check my order.
Okay. Do you have your order number?
400-116-857.
Okay. One moment while I pull that up. You said the order number was 400-116-857?
400-116-586. I'm sorry.
Is all right. 116 was 586 for the last ones?
Yeah.
Okay.
Correct.
All right. One moment. Okay. So I see it looks like this was for some ins, a timber.
Yeah. How much was my total?
262.59.
That's correct. Yeah. All right. Let me give you my work number, and that was it. If you already have it, I don't know if my wife gave it to you.
Let me see here. In order to do that, I would need you to confirm the address we have on file.
Okay.
Thank you for calling. This is what may I do for you today? Hello? I'm sorry.
Check my order.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Do you have an order number?
400-116-857.
857. So you said 400-116.
Oh, 400-116-587. My bad.
587.
Yeah.
And let's see. So I have that order here. What were you checking on there?
262.59.
Can you just verify the information on here?
Okay, that was the last one. So it's interesting. You say the call center folks don't have a script, but the guy who keeps calling the call center definitely has a script, because the first thing is like, oh, I'd like to check on my order, and it's like he builds his own script for this.
Very much, I think that's probably true. I actually wonder if, and this might be me inventing, inventing a story behind it to help understand it. But you almost wonder if there's not a group or syndicate who sits down and comes up with how to do this, because everything we've seen has been really consistent. It does seem to be scripted, and it seems to be really effective unless you're inoculated against it.
Right. Yeah. He's not, there's no niceties. He's not changing up his delivery. It's like, hi, can I have my order? Okay. Well, and then, goes through. He's not like, hey, it's a nice day. How you doing? Where you live? Nothing like that. No small talk. He's just right. Boom, boom, boom. So is this guy still hitting you, or are you, do you have, something that is stopping him by, I know you said there's some machine language or AI or whatever that's detecting him. Can you detect him fast enough so that he never actually makes it to your call center?
No, unfortunately, we can't do that today. We don't have the wherewithal really to do that. And our phone system, it's I think, like a lot of retailers, and maybe I'm mistaken, but a lot of retailers I've seen, mid-sized retailers, we suffer from a lot of technology debt. Our phone system is probably 18, 19 years old at this point. It's slated for replacement, but darn it, it works. And there's a whole ACD thing behind the call center, from being able to detect how long the queue is, predict how many people you need to have, staffing so that you can let a certain number of people go to lunch while you have a certain number of people on the phones. So there's a velocity of calls. You're having a good day, you're having a bad day. So these systems are actually very complex.
Okay. All right.
I think I lost your question in there somewhere. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. Yeah, obviously they're, with companies, it's hard to upgrade too, because you kind of have to do it all at once. There's no like, well, you're going to use this one today, and there's everything has to fail over kind of at the same time. So you could actually suffer operational loss or costs and, operational loss by, having your data center, your call center being down. So I completely understand. So, Mr. Betcher, do you have any questions?
Why does he mess up the order number in the beginning? Is he just trying to get the call center rep to fill in a valid number for him?
I believe that's I believe that's what he's doing, and my suspicion, and again, this is just my suspicion, is that he's using something of an old Carney trick, where I'm going to guess your weight by saying a number and watching your body language. And in this case, he's, saying a number, and if the call center person doesn't really understand the number, then it's probably not a valid number. And so, oh, I'm sorry, what I meant is this other thing. And so I suspect he's using an old Carney trick of watching the body language of the person, and in this case, the virtual body language, the voice inflection, the length of time it takes to pull up the order number, the pause that the person's giving to establish whether or not he's on the right number. So he gets 2, 3, even 4 bites at the apple before somebody goes, you really don't know what my weight is within 100 pounds, do you?
Right. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. I've had that happen, but unfortunately, they couldn't figure it out because I looked lighter than I was. So thankfully I won that prize, but, wow. So, one of the reasons I wanted to have you on is I know people who, I'm, kind of a big deal in the industry. No, I'm just kidding. We have, people on our,
You're
Slack.
a thought leader.
Oh no, Anne's got to go now because I'm just kidding. But we have a channel with social engineering and OSINT that we have folks like Joe Gray, who's done CTFs, and other folks who are trying to gather information and understand how to do these things correctly. Joe has done the SECTFs at DEF CON and DerbyCon and such, and I wondered how he goes about preparing for things like this. And, I thought it would be interesting for us to talk about it from the other point of view, because he's got to go in, he's got to find information about the company. He may not be calling customer reps or call center reps. He may be calling somebody else completely, but he has to create a script or something that, he can at least intelligently talk to any answers or any questions that might come up from the people, or try to get the information that he's got. He's got a specific goal, like this gentleman did. Started out by asking the questions about the order number, what's my email address? So this person could have been somebody you would have heard at an SECTF in this case, trying to get information about various things. It's all about, goals in this case. And, I had a point, but it's just interesting to see this from the other side. People at call centers who, like you said, got upset that they were being taken advantage of in this case, and it's definitely a trust issue that is one that I've not thought about before. So I found that quite interesting.
And I would love to hear what the professional OSINT folks or social engineering folks, the SE folks, who do this for a living. I would love to hear what they have to say about this kind of what I'll call more subtle social engineering, and how to make the process of inoculating against it better, because they're professionals at attacking, and in order to defend against this, I have to put myself in the mindset of the attacker. So interacting with professional attackers who are not out to hurt me is actually also, I think, very valuable too. So that is a value of having a community.
Right. So we talked a little bit at the beginning about metrics that are tailored. The metrics are tailored to supported environment. You answer so many calls. How did your metrics change because of this training? Did you lower the number of calls per hour to make sure that, you're not having the call center people hurry through a call, or, if I don't make my number of calls this hour, I'm not going to get paid as much, or what. I don't know how it works with regards to pay there, but did you make any changes to the metrics you were using to measure, like, oh yeah, this person, found Bob again this week, who tried to call and get the order number? Do you have like rewards for those kinds of things now?
Well, I will say that the two last people that you heard, I did, because it was right after training that this happened, I did pull their group back in to the conference room. I did play these calls for them and did give I think a fairly nice gift card to both of those people for for catching that, and thank you very much for doing that. Mm-hmm. So we had some positive recognition there. I don't believe our metrics have actually changed in this. I don't think, yes, we're asking them to slow down a little bit, but I think we're relatively, I don't want to say generous, but relatively generous on those metrics, because some calls just take longer. Mm-hmm. And in this case, those calls take longer because they're bad guys, and not because they have a really technical kind of question that has to be researched. So I think for us, it didn't really change our metrics basically at all.
Okay. Was there any changes to interface or access to information? Did you guys find that maybe the call center reps have too much access to order information, and remove some of that, or did anything change in that regard?
So one of the things I did do, and we're still playing with this, there are now trap records in the database. If you enter a order number that is a trap record, especially if you're trying to extract a large number of order records, or the velocity of the extraction is too high, mm-hmm. So you're jumping around in the database, it will actually flag the call and require you to transfer it to a manager.
Okay. Is that to reduce the chances of call center reps accessing accounts themselves, or what?
It's kind of to help. It's kind of to help them. If this guy comes in and says, "I want order 123," I mean 321, I mean 132. The velocity there is high, right. And why are you pulling all those records on a single call? You probably don't need to be pulling all those records on a single call. So that's something that needs to be reviewed real time by a second person, at least, preferably management.
Right. Okay. Very cool. All right.
Mr. Transfer, that second person is much more suspicious of the call, because it was transferred there for a reason, right?
It was transferred there for a reason. They also have a significantly larger amount of experience, and they're also the primary training agent who is adopting this training into the process now. So not only have they been through the training, going through the training once a quarter, but they're giving the training every few days. So it's constantly at the very top of their mind. And also they're a long-term employee who is not going to take that institutional knowledge with them and leave. So it continues to be communicated. It continues to become more and more a part of the culture, where that person just treats it as it's the same thing as always physically smiling when you're on the call, so that that the sound of that smile comes through the call. It's that same kind of institutional knowledge, that same kind of cultural knowledge.
And from the attacker's point of view, they basically have to start over, because they built a rapport with the first one. They might be getting something that they've invested capital into that call initially, and now it's a huge loss to be transferred.
Right. It is a huge loss to be transferred, and frankly, everything we've heard, they hang up because they know that they suspect that you're onto them, and there's no money in staying on that call if you're onto them.
Right. So if you move from 50 call center people to one of the 3 people who might have heard you call 10 minutes ago and got escalated to, you'd be like, well, hey, Bob, you just called 5 minutes ago about a different order number. Maybe you should hang up because you're not going to get any more information, that kind of stuff.
And one of the things because people's feelings do get hurt, because call center reps' feelings do get hurt, right. We have to remind them that this isn't personal, that they can't, so like me, they can become old and jaded and suspicious of everyone. Is that pregnant woman who's trying to get in the door really a pregnant woman who's trying to get in the door? Right. So I'm going to need to see your ultrasound, ma'am. Right. So you can become, a little too reactive to this. So we also have to try to kind of temper that reaction as well, because people do take it so personally.
Yep. Yeah, I tell my wife that I never assume a woman is pregnant until I see crowning. So, because I never want to make that mistake. So, I want to go back because you had mentioned when you were doing the training, you brought your loss prevention folks in. Now, I have always assumed loss prevention people were in the stores kind of watching for shoplifters. How are they working with your call centers? Were they deputized to start doing the training now because they were, that's considered a loss of information, or were they working with compliance to make sure that there was no loss of personal information? What are we looking at with the loss prevention folks?
They report to me. They'll do whatever I tell them to do. I'm sorry.
You're in the band this week, Jill. Get out there.
They're my pitch hitters. The LP people are not just physically in stores. Your larger loss is generally your internal shrink. So we have LP people in the warehouses. We have them in order picking. We have them in receiving. The LP is kind of the police force of a retail company, and as such, kind of has the authority to go anywhere within the company and confront anything within the company. And they also have, something closer to enforcement kind of training where they're able to be that gut feeling, that conscious that subconscious state for you, where if your gut's not working properly, theirs probably is. So they can go anywhere and flag anything that may be lost to the company. They are loss prevention in general, and in this case, it is loss to the company.
Right. So, let's give round numbers. Let's not get too specific. Does this kind of fraud, when people call in for these call centers, I don't know if you can answer as an industry as a whole or just from your own experience, but are we looking at like tens of thousands or tens of millions of dollars lost in the retail sector from people doing this kind of fraud over the phone or over call centers? What are we looking at here?
I'm actually, that's a really good question, and I'm not sure what those numbers are. I'm sure that they are published out there. I wonder if the loss is really borne by the retail companies, or in this case, if it's borne by the banking institutions, because you can't really show where the loss came from. You have someone who extracted the credit card information from the end user, and now they're out trying to charge, stuff. Is it really, I guess, any different than any other credit card fraud that's happening? So if you steal from us and then go use it to, buy something at Walmazon, is it, how are you accounting for where that came from? As far as Walmazon knows, it's just a bad credit card.
Right. So I'm I was listening to you, and I completely, card not present fraud is one of those things that is a problem. You can still use a credit card on Amazon, and you don't have, the chip is useless at Amazon, or like you said, Walmart. If you're on any of these sites where you can just put in a credit card number, you've got the CVV because you've followed that Twitter where it's like somebody's posting a picture of their credit card information. But yeah, without the use of the chip and pin or the chip and sig, that's still very, very real. So I was actually Googling like call center fraud, and there's a website, and we've got a link in the show notes for it, called Pin Drop Blog. You're saying at least from 2015 to 2016, call center fraud increased 113%. They're saying that there's also been 160% increase in overall call fraud from like 2016 to 2017. And they're saying that they take advantage, like you said, of apps, VoIP, cheap mobile phones, fraud rings. Like you said, they probably could be working as a group. That definitely makes sense. Fraudsters are maturing, allowing them to be more subversive and clever when it comes to gathering sensitive info. Call centers are mostly overlooked, left behind as the most vulnerable channel. They spoof caller ID or IVR. That's what I was thinking of, IVR. Call centers' responsibility is focused on the customer. They can fall prey to social engineering and fail to detect. Yeah. So, crazy. That's, yeah. Well, I mean, it's.
And how much of this goes undetected?
Or unreported. So, the 113% may only be the companies that have, chosen to report that.
Or have managed to detect it.
Right.
If you're a company that's getting, literally 1 million plus calls a day, how much are you actually able to detect that there was ever a fraud? If
Right.
you don't have, if the fraud prevention doesn't catch it, or the fraud prevention reports it as probably having come from someone else, you never know.
Yep.
So I'm suspicious of how of what magnitude even that they're able to pin down how much it costs.
Yep. So they're saying financial institutions lose an average of 57 cents to fraud for each incoming call, and 1 in every 2,900 calls is fraudulent. How often? I mean, you said you've looked at calls in the last 3 to 6 months or whatever. How many times a day do you think you get people, or on average, is it one a week? Is it this guy's just okay? I'm going to try this one this week. I'm going to and does he have rotations? And so it's like on a cyclical thing. So you're like, okay, so that's a question, indicator of compromise. So you've had a call from Bob or whoever this guy is who's called you, and over time, maybe you could see this as a cyclical thing. So okay, it's 2 months. We may be seeing another call from Bob, or another couple calls from Bob, just in case he happens to find somebody who's new in the pool at the call center. Is there any kind of way to gather metrics to predict that when Bob might call?
Bob always calls on 3-week intervals.
So you've gotten that good. You've got him. Okay.
Oh yeah, almost to the day. Awesome. It's in fact, I send out an automatic email reminding people that we should be expecting a call from him.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Bob Day.
It's Bob Day.
Yep.
So with voice recognition and the like, you can have these flags come up, right?
Right.
Well, this is Charlie calling, but it doesn't sound like Charlie. It's not Charlie's voice. That's a red flag. He doesn't know his
We
order.
hope to get there someday.
Okay.
That's cool. Well, I think I don't have any other questions. Mr. Betcher, how about you? I know I'm sorry I've hogged the entire interview, I think.
No, I'm good.
Okay. Well, one of the things that I'm happy about is that we have leadership like Anne. Anne is not her real name, so don't go OSINTing her or whatever. But because I wanted to protect any anonymity that she may or may not have, because I don't want all the SE people out there thinking you can just hit up her call center and do this. So I'm very pleased that Anne is a moderator on our Slack channel. and she's in our leadership channel, and she gives great advice, and I appreciate her contributing to our community, and hope that just because she's going to be a filthy C-level person now, that she can still come and hang out with us.
I like I say, it's a community, and I get at least as much as I give. In fact, I think I give more trolling and get more use back. So maybe I need to maybe.
I didn't say trolling. That would be Scott. Scott says, no, I'm just kidding. Scott loves you too. So normally this is about the time of the podcast where we say, hey, if people would like to reach out and talk to you, how would they, reach out and do that? But I don't know if that's something you want to do. So we can leave that up to you, or we can just tell people to join the Slack and then they can contact you directly. That might be a way to do it.
Well, there's also my consulting CSO on Twitter as well.
Oh, okay. All right. You're cool with giving out the at consulting CSO. All right. At consulting CSO on Twitter. Oh, wait, not consulting. There's a G there. Okay. So on Twitter. And then if people are interested in actually talking to her, in the Brakesec community, you can always get on the Slack. You can send us an invite to on Twitter. Our official Twitter handle is @Brakesec, which is the official podcast Twitter. You can send us a DM there, or you can email bds.podcast@gmail.com. Mr. Betcher, how would people get a hold of you if they wanted to talk about like what we did with malware last week? Fileless malware is a thing. You don't believe so, but if they have differing opinions, you can definitely reach out to them. And how would they reach out to you?
It seems to be a thing. I don't know what that thing is.
Oh,
so
right.
If someone could tell me, that would be great.
Okay.
They can reach me at my website, log-md.com.
Wait a minute. What's log-md.com? He says knowingly.
That is a product that I developed along with one Michael Goff.
Okay.
To help log all the things that could be malicious.
Okay. And this is for Windows boxes then, yeah?
Yep.
Okay. Cool. And your Twitter handle is?
@BetcherPwned.
Okay. BOETTCHERPWNED. Mine on Twitter is @BrianBrake. I'm not cool enough to figure out a cool hacker handle or anything. So it's just BRYANBRAKE. And so Ms. Berlin, who's out camping, she's going to be sorely sorry she missed this because this was a great show. She is @InfoSister on Twitter and also InfoSister on our Slack channel. You can find her working to help the betterment of the InfoSec community with her mental health hackers, with her and another one of our moderators, Megan Roddy. They're doing a lot of villages. I believe the next big one is DerbyCon. They're going to be doing one there. She's also going to be at DEF CON, I believe, doing village there. So that's the other big one, I think. So yeah, you can go to Hackers Health. That's Hackers Multiple Health on Twitter. And you can, reach out to her on either of those Twitter handles. Or you could just send an email to, like I said, bds.podcast, and I'll forward it on. So you can do that. Thank you to our patrons. We can't do the show without you. Your money and your tips and your help go to hosting the website. It also goes to the Zoom that we're using right now to talk to Ann and, help out with the CTF club, because we use our Zoom to great effect, at least weekly, multiple times for our book clubs, which we're doing Cult of the Dead Cow, I think currently still. We're also have a sim club that meets on a regular basis. We also have a CTF club, and the CTF club is all about learning different techniques on how to get through CTFs, or, for red team stuff. You'll learn how to do DLL injection, process hollowing, that kind of stuff. PonySec is actually doing a great job of making sure it meets semi-regularly. He has speakers who come in and shows different techniques on how to do hacking. So if you're interested in doing that, like I said, send us a DM or send us an email. We have a TPub shop. If you can't, give any money to help out with the pay, to be a patron, you can buy a t-shirt, or, mug or stickers or whatever. And we get a little kickback from that. But we appreciate all the help, from that. So, tell your friends about the podcast, leave us a review on iTunes, Google Play Store, iHeartRadio. We're pretty much anywhere, in the world on the web. You can't avoid us, because you can't avoid us. We're like a bad penny. We always show up. So, Mr. Betcher, anything from you? You're going to be at Derby with me. We're actually going to be roommates for the time we're there. So that's cool. We're getting to, my conference. I have the InfoSec camp out. If you're in the Seattle area, I keep forgetting about this one. I need to send out emails and stuff. It's next month. I mean, we're actually less than a month away. Oh my Lord. So it's the 23rd and 24th of August. So if you're in the Seattle area, you can go to infosecampout.com. We still have tickets for the conference. We still have some spots available for camping if you're interested in doing so. Wow. Yeah, that's like 3-4 weeks away. Oh my goodness. So me and Matt Domko
started planning that.
Yeah, probably. No, I've actually been planning this since January, because if we hadn't, the campsites would have been completely gone by then. So I've had these campsite slots reserved since January, and the barn where we're going to be doing the speakers since like February. So we have some speakers. It's not a typical red team, blue team thing. We've got a couple of folks talking about disaster recovery. We got some folks talking about how to use ham radios. One of the ladies is an instructor for the Red Cross, and talking about emergency communications, ham radios, using ham radios in the area. She's also talking about things like go kits and what to do if there's a natural disaster, which up here in Seattle, we've got fires, we've got mega thrust earthquakes, we've got volcanoes. I mean, it's just a cavalcade of awesome here, dealing with fire and floods and stuff like that. So she's going to talk about that. That's April Murdoch. We've got Brett Shaver, who's going to talk about geolocation, digital forensics, proving that somebody is where they say they are, depending on geolocation and stuff. Let me see. We have Adam Baldwin, who's the VP of security for Node.js. He's going to be talking about the Node.js team and what they've been doing recently to halt bad packages and other developments that have been going on there. And we have a gentleman by the name of Nico, who is talking about mobile device management that he set up at his own house using open source technologies. So, it's not a typical red team, blue team kind of talk. It's they're just all over the place, and I think that's great. And we also have a privacy talk. So Miss Wendy Knox Everett, who everybody knows, Wendy CK on Twitter. She's going to be doing a panel with another friend of hers. I forget what her name is, and I apologize for that. About privacy, talking about some of the stuff that she's done at Sky Talk, which has never been recorded. So it's going to be a lot of great content and a lot of great stuff. So please feel free to go to infosecampout.com and check that out. I'm going to be taking a vacation after that conference, though, because it's first time I've ever done anything like this, and I still get weird sweats when I think about it. So that's too much information. Anyway, so come on out, have a great time. That's it for this week on Breaking Down Security. I'm so happy that we had a chance to have Ann on, and come and check out our Slack and come and talk to her and tell her how you liked the show or didn't like the show. And if you're a social engineer, please feel free to reach out and tell us, we'd love to have maybe some follow-on talks about when you call centers, or, maybe you'd like to talk to Ann about doing some additional training from a social engineering point of view, what works, what doesn't. That may also be some things that can open up some avenues for you for actual real work. So there you go. All right, that's it. I'm out. Everyone have a great week. Be nice to one another. Take care of yourselves, because you're the only you have. And we'll talk to you again soon.